Well, I'm joined now by May Parsons, who issued the first COVID-19 vaccination in England and was presented with the George Cross by Her Majesty the Queen back in July. May, good of you to join us this evening. You were part of today's procession. Can you give us an idea of what that was like for all of those watching it on the screens? It looked incredible. Give us some sense of what it was like to be there.
It was an absolutely surreal moment in time, and it's obviously a real privilege and honour to be able to represent the whole of NHS England in this momentous event of saying our farewell to our late Queen. And it was obviously, paying homage to her and paying our respects to her. It's been a somber day, but obviously also a day to kind of celebrate the service that she's done for her people, the lives of the people that she's affected, and it's kind of our farewell service to her. It's an honour to be a part of it and to represent NHS England.
Yeah, you talk about it being an honour for you to be part of that on behalf of the NHS. To be part of it with the armed forces and so many other representatives from different quarters, does that give us an idea of how much the Queen regarded the National Health Service and what it does for the people?
Absolutely. I think, I'm truly grateful for the staunch support of the Queen and, of the NHS and what it stands for. And clearly her service to her people is what the NHS does as well. So for me as a nurse, that is something that I look up to in terms of also trying to fulfil my promise to serve my community, which obviously the Queen has been doing all her reign. The NHS people, she regarded them so high enough that she's given us the George Cross Award last July, and for her to actually personally give it to us is obviously a sign that she truly regards NHS and what we stand for quite highly, and we can't be any more grateful for the support.
May, can you talk us through what it was like to be presented with the George Cross Award by Her Majesty the Queen? It happened earlier this summer. Talk us through what happened, what she said, how you felt. It must have been an incredible moment.
Absolutely. It was something that never in my entire life I would have thought that I would be, having the honour to do. Just thinking about it now makes me kind of teary because I know that when the Queen welcomed us in her home, it was a truly surreal moment, not just for me, growing from the Philippines and coming over half across the world, and to be welcomed by Her Majesty the Queen in her home and how she made us feel is truly remarkable, and it's something that obviously I will never ever forget. To be regarded by the Queen and to be awarded the George Cross on behalf of all of the magnificent and marvellous staff of the NHS, it's been phenomenal, and it's not something that you would think that someone of her status would be making me feel. It made my respect for the Queen so much more, and obviously I don't think there's anything that's probably going to exceed that experience. It was surreal, and such a privilege and such an honour that obviously the first thing that she's done and, seeing people the first time after COVID was us. So, yeah, it's just magical and it's surreal, and it didn't seem real at that time. And she said to me she asked me what I do. I said I look after my COVID wards, and I did the first vaccination, and obviously the chief executive from the NHS was with me, Amanda Pritchard, and she told the Queen that I did the first COVID vaccination outside of clinical trials. She asked me if I was still alive. So I was almost kind of like, I was exhausted, but yes, I'm still alive. So her humour, her sense of humour, and the way that she's made us comfortable and welcomed in her home was absolutely superb. And when we sat down to have our photographs taken, she's obviously told us not to look glum in the photos, just make us feel at ease. And she's truly, she made us truly felt welcome, and she's really wonderful to be with, even though it was only a few minutes.
Oh, May, it sounded like such a special moment, and just you getting emotional about it really sort of puts across just what it meant to you and your colleagues, because the Queen made that speech during COVID and it was referenced in Westminster Abbey, where she said, "We will meet again." And a lot of people, that phrase resonated through COVID as a sign of hope. Is that something that was going through your head during the service?
Absolutely.
Just remembering that phrase that she used.
Yeah, I think, all throughout COVID and obviously all throughout the difficult times that we've been going through, especially now more with the COVID happening, I think we looked up to the Queen, with her indomitable strength, with her effortless to get people together in times of really hardship, really. And we look up to her and think, she obviously represents so much strength, and you look up to her and you think, well, actually, you can almost kind of feel the peace and the strength that she tells people, and the way that she holds herself, and the calmness, and for her and the service that she does, and the way that she treats her people, and the positive things that she's done to a lot of lives. She's touched so many lives across the globe. This is something that obviously as nurses we do. So we try and positively affect the community that we serve. And she's done that tremendously well throughout her reign. And yeah, so I think we've lost our Queen, but clearly we also celebrate the things that she's done for many of us.
May Parsons presented with the George Cross Award by Her Majesty the Queen in July, who issued that first COVID-19 vaccination in England via the NHS. Thank you so much for telling your story here on Sky News. We can tell just how much today and that moment back in July meant to you. Thank you. May Parsons there. Now, the Queen's state funeral has been marked across the nations of the United Kingdom today.